Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Midwest Super Pixel Pros, live or recorded, pre-recorded today from Grand Forks Best Source Studios. I'm Dale, back doing a special one-off episode of Midwest Super Pixel Pros. We're kind of back down to our just a few episodes here and there a year, and just kind of like I just don't have the time to do them as regularly as we used to, but I always try to make them special and go all out. So we're back doing continuing another Shmuppreciation. People watching the video version of the show, you can see there it's time once again for our Shmuppreciation episode, doing it in collaboration with the crew from MojoMenace and SuperTheHardest, and I guess what was it, Joshua Turbo Incorporated or something like that. I don't know what the official title is, but got some special people to introduce. But I just want to make sure just to give a couple of info, just regular info out, just get it out of the way. This is found on the Grand Forks Best Source. Find all our past episodes on gfbestsource.com, or I guess on the audio episodes, just search Midwest Super Pixel Pros on your favorite podcast app. I got, I think, link in the description for this episode too, and that's where you can find all that. Even though this is pre-recorded, just comment, and we want to hear some of your favorite shmup titles we'll be talking about later in the episode. I do got to give a quick shout out to pay the bills to our friends at the River Cinema 15 and the Shire Bar and Grill. They're located in the Riverwalk Center in East Grand Forks. Make them your next dinner and movie destination. You got to check out their online listings to find the online showtimes at rivercinema15.com. Don't forget about all their specials: $5 Tuesday movies all day long, and $5.50 senior matinee specials every Wednesday and Thursday. Some of this week's coming attractions are, I guess, actually, this episode will be premiering on Grand Forks Best Source on April 3rd, and just opening the day before that would be the Super Mario Brothers World movie, and also playing Project Hail Mary, Scream 7, and so many more. Again, rivercinema15.com. So with that out of the way, I want to make sure to give a special introduction here to our guests today. Joining us once again from last year, returning, he is part of MojoMenace, SuperTheHardest. You may remember, for long-time listeners, he's been podcasting for many years. Other names over the years: Team Fremont Live, The Drunken Gamers, and maybe forgetting one or two more. Give it up for Mr. John Lukey. Welcome, good sir.
Thank you, buddy. We were never, ever good at branding. So, that was our one big weakness.
Oh no, never. And on to John's left, both John and the other person joining me today, Mr. Joshua Turbo. He live streams pretty regularly, and I know him and John had a podcast together, Mojo Weekly, over the years. We'll give it up for Mr. Joshua Turbo. Josh, how are you doing today?
Man, with that lead-in, you should probably went with me first.
Like,
from nowhere special.
Just nowhere special. Hey, we are all in the Central Time Zone, I believe, right? I think we're all in the Central Time Zone.
We are.
Yes. Okay. So didn't have to worry about time zone. So I am all about that.
You can't, and also, Dale, you can't sell yourself short. Just because you do less a year just makes each one of these more of a special event.
Yes, very true. We, I think, we used to be like every other week for several years there. And now this last, couple of year and a half or so, we kind of just do just a handful of episodes a year. And, dang real life getting in the way of doing them regularly, as they say. But this is an annual tradition that John, I think we talked about it last year. This originated on your podcast here, and it's been going for, the better part of the past 2 decades, huh?
Yeah, so it was actually an idea that MC Wilson from the old Broadcast Gamer podcast, it was actually his idea, and he pitched it to us one year to spend a whole month playing shmups and appreciating shmups, and he named it Intergalactic Shmuppreciation Month. And his original pitch was that we would not just play shmups, but we would create things to make tribute to shmups, basically. So people were making music that was inspired by shmups. People were painting things or creating pictures and submitting artwork that was inspired by shmups. And that went on for a while. And it was actually, that is how, if anybody out there remembers the Shmuppra, that is how that started. Is I created just one goofy little song on a keyboard, just plunking away on a keyboard, and then our co-host of Drunken Gamers, Hilden, he heard that and he's like, well, let's just make let's blow this up into a whole rock opera that is all about shmups. So that's how that all began. So it's all thanks to MC Wilson.
Yeah, gosh, and yeah, major shouts to him. And I remember Shmuppra. I still have it downloaded. It's in my MP3 library from over the years, and I think I got the Shmuppra T-shirt. I was debating on wearing that, or I'm representing once again the Intergalactic Shmuppreciation shirt. John, I think you are too.
Buddy.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, nice. Oh man, so and then I think about several years ago, like I think it just eventually kind of fell to the back burner for a year or two, and I think just on your guys' Discord, I just think it was just one year randomly. I was just like, let's just do some score chasing. I just started posting randomly some like high score leaderboard chasing and some shmup discussions, and I think one year, Josh, you kind of really went all out, and we kind of coordinated like almost daily live streams there one year a few years back, and oh man, so just all about celebrating shmups.
The genre of shoot 'em ups is probably the worst idea for a 30-day marathon of of playing anything, because you will literally start to lose your mind.
Yes. well, luckily, I think we kind of coordinated where maybe one of us did a day or two a week, another one of us did a day or two of a week, and oh man, but
Dale, you've been keeping this thing alive almost single-handedly for the past several years, so thank you for that. March rolls around and inevitably Dale sends out a message, and I'm like, oh crap, it's Shmuppreciation month again, let's do this.
Yes, 1,000%, because I think I kind of dialed it back a little bit these last few years, but I think I kind of like the way it's kind of like evolved a little bit over the last few years. Let's do a couple of score chases, like each one takes up half the month instead of, I used to do them weekly, but that way I got to spend a little bit more time with both games and actually got a little bit of skills for each game. Not a pro by any means, but could actually make it a decent way on each credit. And then just I figured I think this is the second year. Just let's do a special podcast and just reminisce on some shmups for a bit. But I guess to kick things off, we're focusing on, if people saw the show description or see the image behind me here on watching the video version, we're focusing on Genesis Shmups this year, especially we're going to talk about two games, and the third game we're doing is going to be like a little bit of a wild card. So, but the first game is a brand new shmup, and I guess officially it is not even released on the Genesis yet. I think it's only available digitally on modern consoles and on Steam, and then I think the developers at Ancient Games and Yuzo Koshiro, his development studio over there, they're going to be releasing a cartridge here, I think, after they do a couple of updates and patches to it. But, John, I think I got clued in about Earthion, that's the name of the game, from you first. I think that was how I found out about it. So why don't you set this one up for us? How did you find out about Earthion, and what really spoke to it about you to make it like, wow, I got to jump into this game here?
A brand new shmup for like an old console isn't necessarily a rare occurrence these days, but a brand new shmup for an old console that has a soundtrack by Yuzo Koshiro is kind of a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's created by folks who were back there involved in programming games back in the 90s. Like, that is a big deal. And I should also mention that Limited Run does have some physical versions of this for modern consoles, if there's anybody out there who's interested in that. But how I found out about it was just on social media. There's a great website called Time Extension that they just post stuff that I care about. It's like every article they post is made specifically for me and my tastes. So I follow Time Extension pretty carefully, or pretty closely, and that's how I found out about it. And you're right, there will be eventually a Genesis cartridge released, and according to timeextension.com, they reposted something from Yuzo Koshiro, who said that the Earthion game ROM is finalized, and it's the last big update, and now they are ready to start manufacturing cartridges at last for the Genesis.
Very good news to hear. I'm stoked. I definitely got some of those limited run goodies. I think I pre-ordered one of the modern console versions, and I did get the soundtrack on vinyl. I love listening to the video game music on vinyl, and I'm most likely and going to end up getting the Genesis cartridge. Josh, was Earthion on your radar quite a bit with all the hype kind of leading up into it here?
Well, I found out about it pretty much the same way. Except for me, it was like just scouring through Twitter, and I saw Yuzo Koshiro made a post just saying like, "Yes, I am making a soundtrack for a Sega Genesis game, and yes, it's going to be a shoot 'em up." And it's like, honestly, had Yuzo Koshiro not been signed onto it, it probably would just been one of those games that would have flown under the radar and been just another game for the Genesis. But because his name is on it, that's like a major event.
So were you guys like me? And I completely forgot Ancient Games was still a thing. If you look on their like game database releases over the years, they kind of have some noticeable gaps between their releases. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, he has a studio. It's just been like several years since they've done anything.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about let's just jump right into the game here. Just feel free to jump on in. Did you guys feel, because they were developing this with pretty much was essentially Genesis dev kits, so it could still run on a Genesis and as well as Genesis consoles. Did you feel like it took advantage, like as if Genesis game development never stopped past 1998, and you got to see way more advanced visuals or little animation effects or just little tricks that probably weren't possible or very seldom used in original Genesis games from the 90s?
Yeah, when I first booted it up on my Switch, I was like, "Holy cow! No way can this run on a Genesis!" Because graphically, it's insane. The pixel art is so impressive and beautiful, this will play on a Genesis at some point when they release the cartridge. There are other people playing the ROM out there. So yes, it is possible, and it is awesome. So I was very impressed.
Josh, anything stood out to you about like just the visuals or the animations or anything like that, just from the technical side?
Well, 100%. It doesn't look like a game that could have ever been made for the Genesis. If anything, it looks more along the lines of like the Metal Slug series on like Neo Geo, or even beyond that, where like early 32-bit games. Like the scaling, the effects, just everything. It looked like something that was really far beyond. And it kind of speaks to that whole concept of like, which type of shoot 'em up fan are you? Are you the kind that like can get like blown away by the glitz and the glamour of these amazing special effects, something like a Sapphire on the PC Engine or like a Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, where it's like, is the gameplay absolutely brilliant? Maybe not, but the visuals sell it so well where it's like, I don't care. I want kind of a generic shoot 'em up with amazing visuals. It's just a game that's more cozy and casual for me to enjoy versus like games that are like balls to the walls, like they kick your ass. You have to memorize everything, and the graphics they're fine.
Like I'm playing some footage from the trailer right now for people watching the video version. You guys can't see it right now, just kind of some muted audio, but so people can just see it in action if they're not familiar with it. And you can just see it putting on like huge bosses, and I know especially that first level, it's you get to see them do the little takeoff initiation sequence, and then you have like just like little moments that kick in where you have that assistant spaceship in the background, and you're like, all right, this guy's coming to help me out. Here we go, and then an enemy takes it out, and debris like scaling in close to you that you got to dodge around. And then in later levels, like the second level opening sequence where you got the missiles taking off and the music sequences piping in just right. I was playing it on my Steam Deck with the headphones on and just blaring the audio, and I was just completely locked in, having a blast. Just kind of curious and then just doing our little score chasing there. Just I was just. The presentation was super, super top notch. I guess my next question for you guys would be, how would you rate this? You know, Yuzo Koshiro, acclaimed composer in the video game scene, and most notably, everyone relates to his work on the Streets of Rage soundtracks. How would you rate his score for this game?
It's Yuzo Koshiro, man, and it's like amongst his best stuff. I really love it. Playing it through a surround sound system in my basement is just awesome. It adds so much to it, not only with the great visuals that Josh was talking about, but man, that soundtrack is something else.
Josh, same to you.
I actually thought the soundtrack was fine. It's weird because like if you didn't know it was him, you'd be like, yeah, it's pretty good Genesis music. Like the music is fine, but the visuals are what really pushes it.
Well,
I don't know. For me, as far as Yuzo Koshiro's entire library, especially if you look at the 16-bit library, it's like right in the middle.
It's very interesting. I kind of had like resonations with both of you guys, because at first I got the vinyl first before I had access to the game, and so I was listening to the vinyl at first. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is fine. It's pretty upbeat, energetic. I could see this going along well with the shmup. But then when I finally got around to playing and putting serious time into it this month, just it's synced up with like the introductions to the levels and like the way the bosses came in, the way it's synced up to the bosses approaching to make you know, hey, we're about to get down to business here. And I guess blasting it on like some gaming headphones too. It just hit all the right notes for me. Just so I could kind of relate to both of you guys. I guess is my cop out way of playing the middle ground there. But how about difficulty wise? As for our score chasing challenges we always do on your guys' Discord. We usually do normal difficulty, default credits. I think 3 or 4 lives. I forget what the default amount of lives was. I only made it to level 3 once on that. It took me a while to work my way up. Eventually, I could get through level 1, no problem without losing a life. And then level 2 starts to kick my butt. And only once did I make it to level 3 on 1 credit. How did you guys rate difficulty wise?
It didn't feel insurmountable to me. I thought it was very fair. If you are someone at home and you're like, I'm not going to play this game because shmups always kick my butt. Yeah, it might a little bit, but it feels like you can get there. The first time I played through it, I credit fed my way all the way through it just because I wanted to see the whole thing. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I could maybe do this if I put some effort into it. So yeah, I wouldn't rank it amongst like the toughest of the tough. This is not like a Battle Garega kind of situation.
Josh, how about you?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think it's the word fair I think works perfect for Earthion because it's just like it's one of those games that wants to show off. It wants you to see into the second level to see some of those special effects. If it were like you said, Battle Garega, if it was a Truxton, if it was something like that where it's like Image Fight 2, you're about to spend 30 seconds and continue and not see a damn thing about the game. This one's like, we've got lots of cool shit to show you. Let's watch.
Yeah, I did use a continue once. I was actually going to use a bunch of continues just because I got to the point that you mentioned, John. I'm like, all right, I just want to see the end of the game. So I used one continue. I made it to level 4 for the first time, and that level just dominated me. It seemed like echoes of R-Type with the caverns. That's what it reminded me of a lot. Yeah. And then I was going to continue again, but then I accidentally, I guess, got a little trigger happy and hit no, and I was like, oh, crap, and then I just never got back to it. But now that I think we're nearing the end of Shmuppreciation month, at least as of this recording, when we're recording, I think I'll have to go back to it and just to see the rest of it. I thought there were some nice, kind of curious of what you guys thought of the little audio cues. It brought back very nice... just nice little hints of blazing lasers. I thought of you guys first because you introduced me to the TurboGrafx shmup scene. What did you think of those audio cues, the voiceover cues?
Josh, I'll let you handle that one.
Oh, I really liked it. I know that Genesis is capable of handling a lot of voices and cues. It's just getting that art down, especially for the development team, is always difficult, and this one did a really good job. So it's one of the very first things that when I played it, and I played it on Steam because I got it on day one on Steam, just downloaded it, tried it, played it, I streamed it, and I remember hearing those audio cues, and I was wondering, like, is this one of those things that they're going to make a port of it for the Genesis, and it's not going to be able to handle these kind of things? Or is it really a Genesis? And so when the initial groups of people scraped the Steam download and got the ROM out of it, I tried that, and sure enough, it's exactly the same on the Genesis. So I was like so impressed by that. It's really cool, and it's just a really nice little touch that most people probably wouldn't even notice or care about. But yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah, I like how it announces the weapons exactly like Blazing Lasers did, with like the same kind of like tone where it doesn't sound like you got a voice actor professional announcing the name of the weapon. It just sounded like they just grabbed a random guy down the hallway and was like, Hyper Laser. And but even more importantly, one little effect that I thought went a long way for me is, you're in the middle of a big boss fight, dodging and weaving through ammo coming at you from all directions. And right when you get the boss down to about like 20 or 30% left, a little voiceover appears saying, keep it up. And for whatever reason, blazing music and effects in my headset going, and it kind of provided me that little confidence boost to get through the boss battles today. And I don't know if that did anything for you, but for me, that went a long way.
I don't know about a confidence boost, but I was like, that means I'm almost there.
Yeah, yes.
It was like, okay, just a little longer. I got to hold out.
Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of reminded me of, gosh, another random deep cut, but John, I think I know you've played this. Josh, I think I remember you mentioning it too, but Retro Game Challenge on the DS. You know, you got on the bottom screen, the kids playing the games doing little balloon pops of like little encouragements or like that if you were doing well or not. So it kind of reminded me of that too.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good pull.
Any other final thoughts before we move on here about Earthion? I know for me, love the game. I'm looking forward to wrapping it up and credit feeding my way through it just to see the rest of it here. And I will definitely be getting that Genesis cartridge. Final thoughts for you guys on Earthion?
Get the game if you don't have it, because it's really great. It's on everything. And if you have a Genesis in a box in your closet, it'll be on that too. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was really happy with it.
Yes. Josh?
Definitely play it. If you are able to remember the very first feelings you got while playing it, it's awesome. Because while you are playing it over and over again and memorizing certain things and realizing the tactics you need to do to get through certain levels, those jump scares, and it's weird because I swear to you, this game is full of jump scares. Shit chasing you, shit jumping out of lava, all kinds of stuff. Like, just remember the feeling that you had the first time you saw that jump scare, because it's pretty excellent. It does a good job of presenting itself for the first time.
Oh man, I love it. Oh man, I'm gonna play more when I get back home. I did jump ahead before. I think in a few minutes we'll be due for a break, but before we get to that, I did jump the gun here and skipped one little segment. I think I mentioned what I wanted to do before we jumped to covering the 3 games today. Since the games we're covering are all on the Genesis, I kind of when talking to you guys over the years, I know we always like to talk a lot about, for Shmuppreciation or just shmups in general, a lot about the TurboGrafx love. I know that's been the focus on a few Shmuppreciation months over the years. And Super Nintendo and like the Saturn gets a lot of love for shmups as well. And of course, the original NES and the Super. But I'm just kind of curious, aside from the 3 games we're focusing on today, what are your guys' thoughts on the legacy of shmups on the Genesis or Mega Drive in general? John, I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah, I feel like it's underrated, honestly. Both Josh and I are big TurboGrafx and PC Engine guys, and everybody rightly, considers the PC Engine the king of the shmups, right? Which I still do. But I kind of ignored the Genesis until a few years ago, honestly. And I think it was through our Discord channel. There was a wonderful guy named Pickle Friction who was like, man, you're ignoring it. You're totally missing out on some great shmups. So we spent an entire month playing Genesis shmups, and boy, did I get an education. And now I have a Shmuppreciation for Genesis. There are so many great ones, a handful of clunkers, but so many great shmups on the Genesis. So if you are dumb like me and ignored it all these years, or mostly ignored it, definitely check out the library. Lots of good videos out there that you can watch that show highlights of Genesis shmups, lots of good articles. Shmup Junkie has a really awesome video ranking grading all the Genesis shmups. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and find a link to that actually and post it in. I think on the Discord I posted a link to it just for just random Genesis background knowledge, and then I think Racket Boy I think was the name of the website that did a few text blurbs for almost every single Genesis shmup as well. So I want to make sure to give them some love as well. Josh, your thoughts on the legacy of Genesis or Mega Drive shmups?
Sure. So yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. The Genesis, wouldn't say I ignored it, but I definitely know the Genesis is known for, or the Mega Drive, what do you want to call it, is known for its like multiple genres, right? Like it does blistering fast platformers, crazy amounts of sports games, all these things, but people generally don't think shoot 'em ups on the Genesis as one of their top key genres. But it's pretty damn good. The more I explore it, the more I go to like thrift stores, pawn shops, I'm just pulling through Genesis games, and there's like $2 or $3 games, pulling the carts out, and sure enough, they're shoot 'em ups, bring them home, and they're freaking awesome. And so, yeah, it's like I always knew the Super Nintendo games because I was super excited for the Super Nintendo when it was released. You got your Gradius 3s, you got Axelay, all these brilliant Konami games. But, dude, the Genesis is just stacked full of them. Musha and Gleylancer and these games that it's kind of cool to be able to jump into and explore later on in life, because it's like, shit, there's an entire library of stuff here that I completely missed out on and that I get to re-explore for the first time. So it's like, yeah, it's a treasure trove of great shoot 'em ups.
Yeah, I have neglected it a lot over the years. I know I played several over the years, but not a lot. The Lightning Force or Thunder Force games, some great soundtracks there. I dabbled with a few of those over the years on some various compilations from Sega, and then I'm always blanking on the name of that shoot 'em up that Sega does. Was it the
Parodius?
Yeah, I think it was.
Or no, Sega?
Yeah, Sega, and there's like an upgradable shop.
Yeah. You're thinking. They had like 20 of these games.
Yeah,
not 20, but they had a lot. It'll come to me.
And it's like plays almost like Defender style. You can fly both left and right, and it's like a little. Yeah, I should have wrote it down, but
there's gonna be this
Fantasy
one
Zone.
Yes.
Yes.
Fantasy
Zone. I
Zone.
don't know why it took me so long to think of that. It's Fantasy Zone.
Yes.
That one super fan listening, like, what a bunch of idiots.
Fantasy Zone. I feel like an idiot because that's a great series.
So yeah, those are my brief dabblings with the Genesis Shmups over the years. So I'm really glad we're really focused this year on 3 Genesis Shmups to give that system some due for it. But I believe we're due for our mid-show break, and while we set up our Zoom, our second half of our Zoom session here, I'm gonna play the 3 trailers for 3 games we'll be talking about today here, so you guys can hear the audio for it too, and just see kind of like just a little compilation of footage promoting it for people not familiar with them. So we're gonna play those here for a couple minutes, and we'll get set up for the back half of the show. More to come here on Midwest Super Pixel Pros, and along with Super the Hardest.
Yeah, am I supposed to leave now?
I don't know. I know there's a link for a second one, but that doesn't start until...
Yeah.
Who the fuck's Paul Krenelka?
Yo, what up, Josh? I'm just gonna sneak off here and get John in here.
Right on, dude. Can't take that guy anywhere. What was that? That was great. Oh, I see. I wanted to do a pop-up. Oh, that's okay. I'll just sit here then, I guess. I'll just sit right here.
good night's sleep last night, fellas.
Hey, what's up, guys? We are back for part 2. People watching the video there just saw a nice little collage of all the 3 trailers there, back to back to back. So,
yeah, probably heard me talking about my night's sleep too.
Oh, all the best, all the best. I think you got to hear me jump in a little bit, saying, "Hold on one sec" to Josh. So, gotta love multiple channel audio. No, it's all good. Yeah. Oh man, happy Shmuppreciation once again for everyone tuning here, joining us for this another fun collaboration here with Midwest Super Pixel Pros and SuperTheHardest or Mojo Weekly. I guess we should mention John and Josh joining me on the line here. You guys did a podcast for a couple of years together there, Mojo Weekly, I believe. It was in my regular listening rotation. I know I did a little mini segment for it too, for part of that run too, the good old retro recap.
It was my favorite part, was the retro recap.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's the only part I paid attention to.
Part worth listening.
I love picking a random remix song from Overclocked Remix to use in the background and trying to make sure the audio level was not too distracting, but enough to jam out to. And I think my favorite part of that, and still to this day, is trying to enunciate the Gmode Archives title that I cannot do for the life of me. But oh man. But let's keep the Shmuppreciation rock and rolling here. We see a couple of the other titles behind me on the video version of the screen here. In the background, let's shift gears over to PD47II MD, the very lovely title. I got the cartridge here from Retrobit, actually released it here. So I have the cartridge. So interesting backstory to this game. And Josh, I'll throw it to you here in a little bit, but this is actually the sequel to an arcade game, and I believe it was on, Josh, I found out about this from you. It released on PC Engine and TurboGrafx as well. PD47. The original was a shmup that took place in World War II as well, but in the European theater. But the sequel here takes place in the Pacific theater. You said you had some familiarity with the original?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
I did play it. So it was one of those things where it's like you see the sequel and you're like, okay, P47 Sherman Wallaby Way, Sydney. What is this all about? So I'm looking up the original, and sure enough, it came out on the PC Engine in Japan in 1989 or 1988. And so I played them back to back over this last week, and both extremely reputable shoot 'em ups. I had never heard of P47 original. I asked a few other folks in the PC Engine community, and they're like, yeah, I always thought that was some kind of like random helicopter game or a random ship first-person view game, and we were all playing it, and it's awesome. Like, it's a really competent shoot 'em up that I don't understand how could have flew under everyone's radar like this, but it's damn good.
I don't recall hearing it over the years get talked about much. I guess there's an interesting backstory for this game. So this game was pretty much essentially finished for about 35 years, and it did not see a release at all until last year, and only in Genesis cartridge form, and so it has yet, at least as of this recording, to receive even a digital release on modern consoles. I imagine this has to be coming with all the work involved. But there's this little bit of in the manual, a little bit of backstory here that went into it here. I'll just read it here verbatim. In 1990, a team of developers worked in-house on this game for the Mega Drive in secret without information shared with the media. Due to the state of the market, it was indefinitely postponed. It seemed destined to be forgotten from all of gaming and remained that way until it was exhibited as the Phantom MD title at the Jaleco exhibition in 2016 held by City Connection, which had inherited Jaleco's IPs. After 9 years of preparation and 30 years after the game's completion, this game has now materialized in physical form as a cartridge. You have now entered a world of what-ifs where Jaleco has released a title on the Mega Drive. So, quite the backstory. So, yeah, I saw John, I think I remember us kind of talking about it for new shmups coming out in 2025 we're looking forward to, and I saw the open pre-order for the physical cartridge, and I was like, okay, let's take a chance on this one. So John, I'll throw it to you next here. I think you said you just had a chance to dive into this one the other day here. What about this one stood out to you? I guess the easy comparison to do is and it's kind of the odd comparison. I guess to elaborate just a little bit more about, they just said in here the game got postponed due to the state of the market. I think I saw some developer interviews, and I wanted to look in a little bit more when the game came out, was that, the publisher got cold feet publishing this game. Again, this is just kind of like, just unofficial off the record comments that just kind of got circled around was a Japanese developer or publisher releasing a game where you're shooting down Japanese targets. Capcom was doing it for years with the 1940s games, but I guess the original publisher just decided against it last minute. That's what I saw from offhand. I don't know if you guys remember seeing similar sentiments elsewhere or from your news sources over the years.
Yeah, you know a lot more about this than I do, honestly. Unfortunately, my knowledge is very shallow. So yeah, I don't know anything about the backstory of it, but I am very. I would say I'm fairly impressed with the game. I'm not going to oversell it. This isn't. This wasn't like when I booted up Earthion and like was just blasted in the face immediately by amazing pixel art. This is a 30. I don't know, how old are we now? This is like a 30-year-old game, and it shows. Like it's not bad looking at all. Like it's fairly impressive looking. But it's definitely a game of its era, developed by people who were, at contemporaries.
Yeah, I saw in here that I kind of got some game footage playing now of the trailer, just muted audio here so people can see the footage. I mean, you can see for 1990 standards, I think it looks all right for a little horizontal or left-rightly, as we like to say, shmup. I was like, oh wow, they got a stealth. They got some interesting selection of like mid bosses. I thought with like a submarine and like a stealth fighter, and I think level 3, the big boss is like a freaking Japanese Yamato air carrier, and so I really got into it. Actually, I wouldn't say I loved it, but I think of like compared to Earthion, it's definitely less frenetic, except for the last level. It just brings it in the last level, at least playing on the normal difficulty there. But I was able to work my way through this one in a pretty decent way. I guess this one here, you kind of have two helper ships, and you get various power-ups for them throughout. You like missiles or like twin fire or bombs to drop down vertically. Did you guys have a favorite like assist weapon that really stood out to you?
So
go ahead, Josh.
I liked the option system that it had, and also like I kind of do agree with you guys as far as like you can feel this being a game that was developed 30 years ago and then finally kind of just getting slipped out and shared with the world, saying this is a game we made a long time ago and now it's finished, because it doesn't have the glitz and the glamour of like an Earthion or like other shoot 'em ups that have been released in the last 12 months. Like think of like, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but have you tried ZPF? That's a really cool shoot 'em up that actually plays kind of similar to Lords of Thunder. It's got like that where you're a character floating or flying around and you can land and run and stuff, sort of similar to like Landis does in Lords of Thunder. But that's another one that was released last year on the Genesis that's new, and it's got that flash and that kind of look at it. It's like, this is something cool that we couldn't do on the Genesis back in the day. This one's like, it's purely like your game control. It's that twitch reflexes, that gameplay style that you're gonna have to like learn and memorize the game versus just being all flash. Because that first stage to me is not like breathtaking. It is not something where it's like, oh, this is a new game, you're gonna love it. And that first stage, I was kind of playing it, and I'm like, yep, I've seen this before, about 30 years ago on the early Genesis games, whatever. So this one excels in like really, really, really tight play control, and the concept of the extra ships and the options, or however you want to call it, being able to switch between them when you collect different items is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I found myself gravitating more towards the missile for the option, and just because it could seek out enemies that were coming up from behind you that it was a little more tricky to navigate to otherwise, or each level has like a special hidden spot for a 1-up. The missiles would actually seek out that 1-up secret spot, and that really helped me to build up some lives. And I saw, Dave posted a new high score last night, and I saw it this morning, and so I kind of went and did one last run this morning, and I kind of was able to, I guess, top our little local leaderboard, and I made it to the last level on my one credit there, so I at least, give myself a little pat on the back for that. But I felt like my last couple of runs, it was all finally starting to come together, and it just started to make some decent headway into it. But yeah, I'm with you. The first level, isn't entirely too impressive. But I think as you work on, you get to see some more of the bigger bosses. I think some of the boss designs for at least 1990 standards, take up a good size of the screen, and some of the later bosses really, really pack a mean punch. kind of curious as to what you guys think of the soundtrack for this here. Very interesting choice of soundtrack. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it.
Josh, I'm going to have to let you take this one.
It's fine. It's fine, Dale. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say anything was worth buying a vinyl for.
Yeah,
if that's what the kids are doing these days. But like, it's like here's the way I would look at it. So I played the first one and the second one. This second one is like an amped up version of the first one. I know there's a different story versus which theater they're in and which part of the World War II they're in, but like, if you think of like something like Splatterhouse, which is obviously not a shoot 'em up, but Splatterhouse 2 came out on the Genesis, and really it's just an amped up, heavier, like raw version of the first one in a very similar way. When I played the first one, I felt like I had already played this before. Like I'd played the second one, and the stages are very similar in a way. The music even kind of sounds similar. The power-up system's pretty similar, except for with, it being on the PC Engine. So it depends on if you like PC Engine chiptunes versus Genesis chiptunes. It's like, if one game is a B-, the original was a C+. So I mean, like, it's like, it's there.
No, yeah, that's kind of similar for me. How I felt like it just seems. I'm not trying to say this in a pejorative way. It just felt out of place for the genre. I kept thinking like, except some of the boss tunes I thought were actually pretty on point there, but the main level background music for each of the levels, I kept thinking, I'm like, this seems like would be a pretty decent chill Outrun soundtrack of all things. I'm like, kind of more longer, gradually changes as longer tunes go on more and more. But I was like, okay, I can see this vibing for Outrun, but it just seems like for a shmup, I would probably am used to stuff being a little bit more frenetic, a little more vibrant, and I just wasn't feeling that with this. So, but interestingly enough, the special edition here, it did come with a CD. It came with I guess like a mini CD for the soundtrack. So, so I unintentionally wound up with a soundtrack for it there. But I'll take it. It's still fine music. So, but
that's pretty cool that they included a mini CD with it. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'll bust it out here, but I guess while I do that, just any other final thoughts about what stood out to you that you guys, any other final talking points about P47II MD?
I don't have a ton of experience with it. I played it for probably a half hour, but I was like, this is a nice little curiosity. I'm glad they released it. It's not a bad game. While I said, oh, that's awesome. That CD. Well, like I said, it didn't blow me out of my chair like the old Max L cassette ads, the same way Earthion did. It was still cool. It plays well. You guys were talking about the options. I enjoyed that. I also was like, man, when you die in the game, they sure kick you back a little bit as far as your ship's abilities, so it kind of the shmups are famous for that, that's a whole Gradius thing, but I do like it. I don't want to sound like I'm dogging on it. I do think it's definitely worth seeking out and worth playing.
Those death sequences that this game has are awesome because it gives you this maybe like 3-second span of time where you think maybe you're still alive because it has this little flame, and then you sit there for a second before you come crash into the earth, and I'm like, am I dead? Shit, I'm dead. And then you start falling to the earth. But yeah, I mean, this game it's a Jalico game. And the thing I love about Jalico games is that they make lots of games for different genres, but they certainly don't make the best games for any genres.
That's a very good point. I could agree with that. With definitely playing some other Jalico games over the past, I immediately think of the bases loaded games, really good, but not the best baseball titles. That's one that immediately comes to mind. And I'm with you. I think PD47II. I'm kind of in the like it but not love it. Though there's certain parts I really was enjoying it there this morning when I was making really good progress, making really good headway. So that last level kicks your butt, but things take place all of a sudden. I guess kind of like Earthion, like that level 4 comparison. It kind of starts to feel like R-Type, like caverns out of nowhere when they're more enclosed, and walls to blast through and stuff like that. And I guess one thing I did felt worth mentioning is you do get like 3 hyper bombs per life, and your hyper bombs also act as your life bars in an interesting twist where if so you kind of have a risk reward. If should I save the hyper bombs up for the boss battle, because if you use all 3 of your hyper bombs, then your next hit you take, you lose a life, or if you're in the middle of gameplay and you just take hit by any enemy, small or boss, you lose one of your hyper bombs. So I thought that was an interesting take on the health system and the hyper bomb system, combining them into one there. So, but
I didn't realize that. That's pretty cool.
But yeah, so that is PD47II MD. Last segment here, we're going to focus on our wildcard segment. Josh, I think me and you were, if I understood from your message the other day, I think Gleylancer, was that going to kind of be our wildcard focus, or did you have a different game in mind?
No, we're talking about the finest Sega Genesis shoot 'em up of all time, of course, Gleylancer.
Okay.
It is a gorgeous tour de force in horizontal shoot 'em up. Sensational. Perfect soundtrack, perfect gameplay, perfect graphics. I just the only thing that would have made it better if it had been released on the PC Engine.
Oh man, yeah. I got from my notes here, 1993 it released there. From I think I got this from that Racket Boy article, designed or produced by Koshiro Tsushida. I apologize if I mispronounced that. Went to found G Craft, yeah. So I only had a chance to play about a little under an hour of it this morning, and I know the things that really stood out to me was its version of an option system. I think they call it their mover system. Is that what they called it, Josh?
Yeah, I think so, because this game is pretty awesome because it's in a similar way of, like, say, Lords of Thunder. And I've brought that up a couple times now, but that's pretty much the quintessential perfect shoot 'em up. But like, you get to pick your weapons before you start playing. And so you can essentially change the way the game plays depending on which weapon set you take, which is, I think, something you see in like a game like Axelay, or you see like Lords of Thunder, where it's like it definitely changes the way the game plays. And then you can fashion however you want to play. I mean, there's heat sinking type options, there's the spread weapons, there's bubble weapons, there's all kinds of different things, and they all do different things. And you cannot select between them while you're playing. You have to select at the beginning. So that it very much so changes the way the game plays. And damn, it's just such a good game.
Yeah, I know. I only had a chance to play that a little under an hour, but the thing that popped up to me too right away from starting it was the parallax scrolling. It's just all in your face, and I'm like, oh wow, this is feeling like you mentioned Lords of Thunder, like feeling like a graphical showpiece for 1993 standards there for the Genesis. And I think it'll take me some more getting used to, because I was dying right away because I think the enemy fire was kind of blending in a little too well with the background debris from
the stars and the bullets
and
stuff. Yeah.
Did that take some getting used to for you, or did eventually you kind of got a feel for it with, I'm guessing, more time?
Yeah, I think I was introduced to this game with one of our Shmuppreciation months. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was it was one, Dale, when you set it up for one per week, and we did Gleylancer either the first or second week. And when I played that, it was the one game I constantly kept coming back to, because I felt like I was getting just a smidge better every time I'd play it. Every time I played, I'm like, I'm starting to figure out this last stage, and it does, a lot of those tropey type, shoot 'em up stages that a lot of other games have done before. So it's like kind of taking ideas that it's like evolving from other games from the past, Gradius and R-Type, and like all these different concepts from different games, and just smashing it all together in one. And every time I play it, I was like, I just liked it more. And so we'd even it's like, okay, cool, now we're starting Raiden, or we're starting this week. And I'm like, ugh. But at the end of every night, I'd always pop in Gleylancer, because it was that cozy, casual, just comfort food type shoot 'em up where it's just, I don't know, it does everything right for me.
Yeah, I definitely got to come back to this and revisit here. I've been playing all these on the analog MG here, so it's been great to rehook that up and just go to town on that. But again, I think I didn't have a chance to spend too much time with it when it was in the rotation there a few years ago as well. But I know they did do an update for it. So I think Limited Run did a physical release for it as well, but it's available digitally as well. But really cheap. I think it's like under $10 as well. John, curious, did you get a chance? Do you recall playing this a few years ago for Shmuppreciation, or was it in your rotation over the years?
I had not even heard of it until I think it was re-released in 2000. I think it was 2021 for Switch and probably PS4 as well. And yeah, you're right, Dale. It's like $7. But I was immediately blown away, and I'm pretty sure, Josh, I think you're right. This was a big focus for Shmup Month that year, and this was when I was starting to get into the Genesis Shmups, and this definitely stuck out to me. I've always been a big advocate of Musha on the Genesis. Like Musha's always been my favorite Genesis Shmup. I love Compile and I love all the stuff they do. So that game's freaking amazing. But this one is right up there now. Like it quickly just immediately went right up to Musha as one of my favorite shmups on the Genesis.
Yeah. I definitely got to put more time into this. Josh, I think, did you do a lot? I saw your live stream for PD47II MD. Were you going to do it, or did you do one in the past for Gleylancer? I'm trying to recall off the top of my head.
Several.
Okay, yeah.
I at one time was doing like monthly Gleylancer practices, and it was either December or January, and I was during like one of the holiday breaks. I did wind up beating it finally, so it felt so good.
Man,
so good to get through it. And
wow.
Man, and you mentioned Musha, so I really do enjoy Musha, and I've always been told like, okay, so you want to get into Genesis shoot 'em ups, start with Musha, start with Galleras. Like that was a big one that everybody kept saying, try Galleras, and I found this at a thrift store for like a couple bucks. This is fine. This is okay. Like I wouldn't consider this to be amazing, and Musha, I really do enjoy it. But I mean, I think of Nexer and like Spriggan and like Blazing Lasers and Superstar Soldier on the PC Engine. It's like Musha's really good, but it isn't in that league of those kind of games. But Gleylancer is something that that was the first one that really clicked with me. So now whenever any kind of person recommends a shoot 'em up on the Genesis, I'm like, if it's anything like Gleylancer, I'm ready.
Sounds like for both of you, the vibes I'm getting, this is well regarded as top tier Genesis shmup material, must play.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. I will mention to you, Josh, you mentioned Musha. I believe that's kind of like related to, or at least on Genesis it was named that, but I'm thinking I played a lot of it a few years ago. As it's the same lineage as the Alest games, correct?
It is.
I played a ton of those on the Game Gear when they did the Alest collection, and I think you might remember like at MGC a few years ago, I brought the micro Game Gear. They released overseas. I got the Alest version of that, and even with the screen magnifier, that thing was just it. You thought the Virtual Boy did a number on your eyes, man. That micro Game Gear, but
holding that micro Game Gear in my hand made my skin crawl. It was disgustingly small.
But I did pick up the overseas. Also, I imported they released that same collection on the PS4, and so I played it a lot on the PS4. And so I played a couple of those ones on there. I got my good Alest fix that way, including a new edition of the series, but made with pretty much a Game Gear development kit. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's great, and it's excellent. I imported that one for Switch. It's fantastic.
Oh. Does that one contain Robo Alest, the Sega CD game?
Oh gosh, I want to say it's 4 Game Gear games. I want to say.
I think it's all Game Gear games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another really, really good one. I actually prefer Robo Alest over Musha from the Sega CD to the Genesis, but that's just because I'm a CD game, early 90s CD game homer. Like anything on CD, I'm like, that is amazing.
Oh man, gosh. So I think that about wraps up our 3 main games we're focusing on right here. Is I guess before we wrap it up with just kind of rapid fire highlights for any other shmups coming out later this year, or just any other quick takes, is always a segment we like to call it on Pixel Pros, or more commonly known in the video game podcasting landscape as like, oh, what you been playing? Just anything else to wrap up with. Is there anything we missed on any of the 3 shmups that you guys want to touch on here before we work on wrapping things up here?
No, not at all. Other than explore the Genesis library, the Genesis Shmup library specifically. It is definitely underrated. No, it doesn't reach the lofty heights of the PC Engine or the Saturn, which are my 2 favorite shmup consoles. But there are some definite highlights there. But stay away from Biohazard Battle. That's not a good one. I'm going to tell you right away, just ignore that one.
That's the bottom of the barrel.
For me, it is. There might be some sickos out there, but I'm not one of them.
Josh, same to you.
Yeah, there's like so many good Genesis shoot 'em ups out there. I would recommend just any kind of a game library that you're not super familiar with. Just jump into shoot 'em ups. Try them on any system you can think of. Even the Jaguar has good shoot 'em ups. Like think Raiden on the Jag was a pretty fun version of that. So the Genesis is no different. It's got a fantastic library of shoot 'em ups.
You know, it just dawned on me. I completely forgot to mention earlier the Toa Plant shmups on the Genesis. There's like 7 or 8 of them or so on there, and they reissued them on physical cartridge and I think a lot of them digitally over the last few years. I know I spent a lot of time with I forget what it was officially called on the Genesis, but the Tiger Heli or whatever it was named on the Genesis.
Kyoku Tiger.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man, and then playing all the M2 Shot Triggers did a version with a bunch of ports and like all the gadgets on there. I think that was in the Shmuppreciation a few years ago. Put a lot of time into that. Yeah.
Play some Truxton.
Yes.
Play some Truxton. I love it when a Toa plan comes together.
Oh gosh, yes. Yo. Oh, where's it? I'll give you the crowd applause for that. or I do have I could do. There we go, the old buzzer there. But oh man, well, let's wrap up here for our last 5 minutes or so here. Just kind of, if you guys want to spotlight any other shmups coming out later this year, or just anything else you've been playing lately you want to give a shout out to, John, I'll throw it to you first.
My life has been absolute chaos for the last month. So the only things I've had a chance to even dabble in are I'm still chipping away at Metroid Prime 4, which, it's there. It has flashes of brilliance. It feels half-baked. And I know they worked on it for like 8 years. They needed a couple more. There's just so much. There's just so many things where I'm like, if they just would have fleshed this out, it would have been so much cooler. Like, there are great moments. There are great bosses in the game. It looks beautiful. It might be the most beautiful Nintendo game ever made. But it's just not quite there, especially by Metroid standards. And then the other one I've been playing from time to time is the Dragon Quest VII remake, which is really good. What I like about it is, like I said, my life's been chaos and I've been extremely busy. I'm able to sit down and just have a breezy time with it. They made it like super like accommodating. And you can make it hard if you want, you can adjust settings and whatnot, but I'm not here for that at the moment. I'm here to just sit down and have a breezy little adventure and wander around and kill some slimes. And that's it. I think it's done a great job.
Josh, same to you here. I got to get rid of this pop-up.
Oh, geez. Okay, sure. Yeah. Weirdly enough, I'm currently playing through Dragon Warrior 1 on the Game Boy Color. So I started playing that about a week or two ago. I'm probably over halfway now, but my intention is to play into this series so that I can finally get to Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior 5, which is by many considered to be the best one in the entire series. So I'm actually really excited for that. But as far as shoot 'em ups go, really kick-ass one on Steam for a couple bucks. It's called Zero Ranger. A few years ago, we also did that in Shmuppreciation month, and that's what I would consider probably be my 1B game that I constantly keep coming back to. It's on Steam, super easy to access, really, really fun one. It does a lot of really good work with switching up between horizontal and vertical shoot 'em ups, similar to like Life Force. Really, really great shoot 'em up. I have a lot of fun with it. And I did a few years ago, and it was just one of those games that I really remember enjoying. And then why haven't I touched it in a couple of years? So I just keep popping that in and enjoying maybe a 15 minute to 30 minute round of that every couple of days here. It's a great game.
Oh man.
Yeah, Josh, Dragon Quest V is a stone cold classic. And like you said, many people's favorites. When you're done playing it, you should also watch the goofy movie that's based on it on Netflix called Dragon Quest Your Story, I think. You should check that out.
Can't wait. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Oh man, a few years ago I finally got around to playing Dragon Quest 8, and it was the first Dragon Warrior game I ever finished. I did on the 3DS, I guess, remaster, if that's the right word for it. But I really enjoyed it. And I started a couple others over the years. I have been picking up the updates. I've been doing the 2D HD versions recently, and I did pick up 7 Reimagined. I really want to, I think if I were to jump into one next, it would probably be those 2D HD ones. Have you guys put a lot of time into either of those?
I've dabbled a bit in them. I started with 3. I got pretty far into it and then just kind of fell off a little bit. And I picked up 1 and 2, but I haven't started that yet until I go back to 3 and finish that one. Because the order of the story is apparently 3, 1, 2. That's why they were released that way. But yeah.
Oh. But thou must.
Yes. Oh.
Thou must.
I guess for
puff.
For myself, for what I've been playing lately, kind of been a bunch of stuff. I kind of had a little bit of free time this last few weeks here, aside from the shmup stuff, before I know April's going to get really, really crazy here real fast, real soon before I know it. But I was able to kind of, I guess, while I had the analog MG hooked up, I only have one Genesis import, and I was playing a little bit of it this morning. Of all the games, I got it last year because Street Racer. It's a fun little arcade racer, a kart racer clone. Always liked the Super Nintendo version, and then I found out last year there was a Genesis or a Mega Drive version only released in Europe, and that I heard it was actually, just from what I was looking up online, the better version. And I'm like, okay, sure, yeah. Good, solid little kart racer clone. I mean, Mario Kart's obviously still the better one, but I was thinking, and then sure enough, I think, there's this last couple of years, it seems like a lot of companies are re-releasing and remastering a lot of like random 8-bit, 16-bit games you never thought would see updates and collections and stuff like that. But sure enough, there was a Street Racer collection of various ports of like the Game Boy, Genesis, Super Nintendo versions, and that was bizarre. But yeah, played a bit of that, and then also me and my brother, we kind of like to do some online gaming a little bit here and there. We busted out Wreckfest again. That was still great arcade demo derby type racer from the guys that made the old flat out games on the PS2 Xbox era. Cannot recommend that enough. Really great game. They got a sequel, I believe, coming out this year. I think it's in early access right now. And then finally, these last few weeks have been busting out Xenotilt. Finally, put a ton of time. A ton of time into Demon's Tilt. It feels like an unofficial spiritual successor to Alien Crush and Devil's Crush on the good old Turbo Graphics there, but fully realized, like, if they were still developing with that system all these years later, just some crazy animations, crazy mini games, just a thumping soundtrack. Love the soundtrack for both of those games. But Xenotilt, fantastic pinball. They just go all out. They mix gunplay into it too. You can fire guns to eliminate enemies, and I'm just feel like I'm tipping I already put like several hours into it, but I'm feeling like I'm just scratching the iceberg. The original Demon's Tilt, I actually got all the achievements in that one. It took me forever to do it, but it was great picking away at it. And yeah, cannot recommend either of those pinball games enough. And yeah, those are, I believe, my quick takes. John, I got one little thing here I'll show you for the camera. We talked about Under Defeat. I guess for both of you guys. Under Defeat last year. We put a lot of time into it. I think I mentioned this in the Discord. I think it was very shortly after Shmuppreciation wrapped up last year that they, sure enough, limited run games did. I did not see it coming. A physical release.
Oh, nice.
Pre-order, and I'm like, okay. I had such a fun time playing for Shmuppreciation last year that I did the pre-order edition, and they include like a nice like art book and like with some interviews with the original developers, and
that's super cool.
Some postcards, and then a soundtrack CD. But which soundtrack they decided to use, John, for the soundtrack CD? I don't know if you recall the soundtracks. There was a few really good ones, the original, and then a couple really good arranged versions. And then they did a brand new, for that version, they did the updated release they released last year, a boosted soundtrack, which I thought was still pretty good, but I think last year when we were talking about it, it felt very out of place compared to the other ones.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay, I remember that now. I've got the worst memory in the world, but I do remember that boosted soundtrack, and we were talking about how like it didn't even compare to the original.
Yeah. I mean, it was like it felt like a really good metal soundtrack, but barely any hints of similarities to the original one. But But I was like, okay, this is an odd choice to have for the CD, but I put it in my car, I jammed out to it. So, but
nice.
I know we got just a couple of minutes left here on the Zoom call. John and Josh, thank you guys so much for coming on and just nerding out on Shmups all month long and for taking some time to join me today. I know it's just a crazy month ahead. Want to make sure you guys have time to plug where to find you online and what you guys got going on here, and just keep up with your gaming goodness you guys provide. Josh, I'll throw it to you first.
Sure. Yeah, in a month, I will be working in the Video Game Museum at the Midwest Gaming Classic, MGC, of course, in Milwaukee, over April 24th, 25th, and 26th. I'll also be working on TurboFest there. I'll be within the Guys, Games, and Beer room there. So really, it's a lot of amping up for that, a lot of packing, a lot of getting stuff play tested and whatnot. But yeah, if I'm online, if you want to continue any conversations with me over on the Blue Sky World, that's where I'm at @_Joshua Turbo. Don't forget the underscore. It is the most important underscore in all the internet.
Oh man, people, you gotta watch Josh's live streams. I'm horrible. Every now and then I may pop in. I see him live, but usually I catch your archives on YouTube. I know I kept up with a lot of your Earthbound playthrough. That was really fun to keep up with,
So
and
good.
and some more other recent ones too. I'm blanking on, but yeah. And I did watch your PD47II one, and yeah, man, that's some dedication keeping up with that schedule. That's awesome. John, where can people find you online?
I just want to go back to that quickly. Beer guys and games or whatever it's called. When last time I was at MGC, I walked in that room and just somebody handed me a beer, and I was like, all right, thanks, man. Very friendly fellas. But anyway, you can find me at MojoMenace everywhere. Well, not on Twitter, but MojoMenace.com. You'll find MojoMenace on YouTube, Blue Sky, all that stuff. That's where you can find us.
And gosh, so many archives of episodes for many, many, many years. You cannot go wrong. I think I'll put a link to it in the description for this episode too here, so people can find Josh on Twitch and John's podcast there. So yeah, cannot recommend both your guys as Super the Hardest and Joshua Turbo on Twitch enough. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I just got to do my little wrap up here, and I got one more ad read to do, but stay on the line here, and I'll think if it doesn't end here before I get through all that here, and I'll touch base with you guys here in just a second. But I want to give thanks again for everyone for tuning in to Midwest Super Pixel Pros and the Super the Hardest, your little collaboration here podcast. Again, you can find us on, just search GFBS on your favorite social media podcast app, or search Midwest Super Pixel Pros if you just want to find Midwest Super Pixel Pro episodes on your favorite podcast app. That's the easiest way to find us. And again, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to give a shout out to our last sponsor here at GFBS here, Rumor Sports Bar Casino. They're located in formerly known as the Grand Cities Mall. They recently rebranded as the Midtown Market. Go-to place where you want to watch live sports in town, wall-to-wall TVs. I know just if you want to see whether there's playoff hockey and playoff basketball coming up, if you want to root on, or maybe even playfully jeer the Timberwolves or the Wild or the Twins baseball season coming up, or your favorite UND sports, got to check them out. Rumor Sports Bar Casino in the Midtown Market. All kinds of great dinner and lunch specials every single day. Friday, when this episode is premiering, it's $9 any pizza. Rumor Sports Bar and Casino open every day from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. All right, that will wrap it up for this episode. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. We will see you all here again. We're down to like a special, just few episodes a year schedule here. So stay subscribed on your favorite podcast, social media apps. Keep tuning in. Thank you so much for joining us on Midwest Super Pixel Pros. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye for now.